My name is Jay Schutte. I farm just east of Mexico, Missouri with my two brothers, Gary and Dale. We are in the central part of the state of Missouri, kind of favoring the northeast a little bit. We're pretty close to the Missouri River. We have my niece's husband, Daniel Schaefer. He joined our operation several years back, so we've got the next generation coming on. We farm about 2,800 acres, 50-50 corn soybean split, which is pretty much standard anymore. We also have a cattle operation. Daniel Schaefer, who I talked about earlier, he is the one that basically oversees the cattle. So we're pretty diversified for this farming in this part of the world. Just to walk you through the planting season, actually the planting season starts in the fall. As soon as we remove the bean crop, we go out and we have a local ag service provider spread the fertilizer for us. They do everything on a precision basis. They sample our farm on 3.5 acre grids, come up with a fertilizer recommendation from that. They will come out and they will spread the fertilizer on the ground. We will take the field cultivator and incorporate it into the ground a little bit, just to, more than anything, try to save that nitrogen that we get in there. And that also helps the ground to warm up some the next spring, unless of course we're no-tilling and we don't work the ground at all then. We planted this field behind me approximately April the 20th. In a normal year, we generally start harvesting around September the 10th. And what we do is we wait for our corn to get down to around 18% moisture. We try not to dry with heat. We just use the fans. And this year, because of the cool, wet weather during the spring, the seed did not emerge with as much vigor as it normally does. It just did not mature as quickly as it normally does. Plus, you know, by the grace of God, we had good rains all summer long, so that plant stayed healthy and was continuing to grow and put energy into that seed. So this is not all bad. We started a little bit later than normal. We started on September the 25th. And we're not going as hard as we probably normally would, just because we're having trouble finding grain dry enough to harvest and avoid that drying with heat. Growing conditions were a little bit wet, a little bit challenging this year, and very cool. As you can see, the quality of the corn is very good. We had beneficial rains throughout the year. We had one hot spell right around the first part of July, and you know, thankfully, we had rains right before that, the heat, and then rains right after, so the crop really did not suffer a lot, but quality is great. Yield at this stage, you know, when we're just looking at standing plants, is kind of nothing more than an educated guess. But a lot of people will count the number of kernels, the length, number of kernels that go around, and then you take it times your population and divide by, I think it's 140,000, that'll make a bushel. The one thing that's really kind of a big variable on that, though, is the depth of the grain, and you got to have good depth in there as well. Test weights should be excellent this year. I'm anticipating test weights are going to be well over 60 pounds to the bushel, so really good quality this year. We're inside the combine now. It's like anything else, there's been a lot of technological improvements over the last few years. As you can see, I've got a lot of information that I can take in while I'm going through the field and go through it with all these screens. Probably the most important one, though, is right in here. We have the engine controls. It's telling me how many RPMs I'm running, fuel, engine temperature, just trying to make sure the engine's running properly. Of course, we got to know that's all going well. And this is where the controls are shown for the actual separator, how far open I have the sieves, how far open I have the chaffer, how fast the fan's turning, all trying to monitor, you know, trying to make that grain as clean as we possibly can. And then I've got these two screens. This one up here is actually it's a dummy screen. It has no computing capability. It runs off of this screen. And what I can do is, just by touching that button, I can throw information back and forth. Generally what I will have is guidance going on one, and then the yield monitor working on the other one. And that way the combine pretty much steers itself. I've just got to turn on the ends, And this is all, just trying to keep my speed up as much as possible to keep the wheels turning so that we can get through his harvest as quickly as possible and still have a high quality grain. When we're harvesting corn, we run a 12-row corn head, and it's a Class 8 combine. And when we're going full bore, I am filling a truck about every 25 minutes. So it takes a lot to take it away. This is our newest bin that we put up. We had to do this just because we were getting so much grain, we couldn't handle it all with our grain leg. We've got an auger over here that we use to fill the bin with, and we've got 2 grain carts, 4 semis. So we've got a lot of infrastructure for getting the grain away from the combine and then putting it in storage. One of the unique things about this bin that we have here is it's got a system in it that will actually run the fans as it needs to be done. It actually, via the internet, is in contact with the weather station, so it knows what the weather's doing, what it's gonna do. Turns the fans off and on automatically, just trying to keep that quality of the grain as best as we possibly can so that it does not spoil here in the bin. The auger that we've got over here can empty a truck in about 15 minutes, and our grain leg, it's a little bit longer. It takes probably 20 minutes, but that drive time between the field and where the combine is where we really need all that capacity for. When we're going full blast, it's pretty hard for the truck drivers to keep up with me. The ethanol plant's less than 10 miles. That has really been a godsend for us. If we get in trouble as far as unloading trucks during harvest, and if we've got grain forward contracted with the ethanol plant, which we do this year, and the big reason why we forward contracted to the ethanol plant was we just didn't have enough storage. It's going to be that good of a year. So, we can divert trucks that direction. If we've got our auger filled, or our auger is busy and our grain leg is busy, we can divert a truck then to the ethanol plant and it can be empty very, very quickly. We are backgrounding cattle. We're just really trying to grow them, get them ready to put on that muscle mass that'll be made into meat then and go into the supermarkets. At this stage, we're feeding the animals a lot of roughage, as you can see. Not a whole lot of corn in here. The corn that you do see is just from the silage that's chopped. A lot of hay, distillers grains, and then the balancer. We use distillers grains in our ration just because, first of all, we're using our own product. We like to do that. It's a high quality feed source, gives good protein content, good energy value to the feed ration, and has a very consistent quality. And we get better rates of gain by including distillers grains than we do by including raw corn. As far as any kind of mycotoxins in the corn, the biggest fear would be alpha toxin. And we've basically had ideal growing conditions this year. No extended periods of hot or dry weather. So the corn is very healthy. So it really was not susceptible to any of the mycotoxins. It's just really important that we grow these markets. Our farmers as a whole in the United States, we're getting more and more productive every year. We've got more and more corn to sell. We need to find more markets for it. It's important for us to develop that so that we have a home for this corn to go to. As the quality of living goes up across the world, people are wanting more animal protein in their diet. And that means that they're going to have more corn to feed those animals. We're happy to help fill that gap. Partnerships involved in grain marketing are indispensable. In the overall realm of things, we're a very small operation. We have 2,800 acres. That sounds like a lot to a lot of people, but as far as us exporting individually, we would not have that opportunity. Grains Council has been indispensable in developing these markets, making them grow. I just want people to know that food coming out of the United States is very plentiful. It's very safe. I think it's priced very appropriately. We are very happy to help ensure that the people of the world, not just in the United States, have a healthy diet. We're very proud of the job that we do and are very, very happy to continue on doing so.